Vecna is out of his mind. He's opening other doorways, and we don't know where they lead.
We all are ready for one last war.
Stranger Things 5 wants you to believe one thing. Vecna is the big bad, the final villain, the monster at the end of everything. But if you look closely at the lore, the Dungeons & Dragons parallels, and the way Volume 1 treats Will Byers and Dimension X, that story does not add up. In this video, Vecna is not the final boss. In Stranger Things 5, we are going to talk about why Vecna is more like the mid-game boss. We will look at the Mind Flayer as the real hive mind, Will Byers as the possible endgame threat.
I know it's hard to talk about, but these visions, were they like before? Like when you had your now memories?
It's like I was there. I was right there. I was seeing what it was seeing and thinking what it was thinking. I must have somehow tapped back into the hive mind.
And how the show has been hinting at a bigger power behind Vecna since Season 1. Let us start with what we know about Vecna. Henry Creel goes to Dimension X as a child. He is exposed to the particles that will later form the Mind Flayer. He survives, comes back different, and ends up in Hawkins' lab as Subject 1. When 11 blasts him through the wall, he falls into the hellscape, then is reshaped by the hive mind into the monster we call Vecna. That sounds impressive, but listen to the order. Dimension X and the particles come first. The hive mind comes first. Henry comes later. That alone tells us Vecna is not the origin of this evil. He is a vessel. In Dungeons & Dragons, Vecna is a powerful lich, even a god in some versions. But even he is not the only top-tier threat. There are elder evils, primordials, and cosmic entities above him. The Duffers know this. They named him Vecna on purpose. Now think about the Mind Flayer. In Season 3, the Mind Flayer builds a physical body out of people and animals. When 11 injures that body, the Mind Flayer does not die. It retreats. In Season 4, we see that the storm-like shape in the upside-down sky existed before Henry. He did not create it. He shaped it. That is a key line. Vecna shapes the Mind Flayer like a spider because that is the form he understands. But the intelligence itself is older, bigger, and not fully visible. So if Vecna is the general, who is the king? The simplest answer is that the Mind Flayer, or whatever lives inside Dimension X, is the true final boss. Vecna is its favorite champion, but not the source. Then there is Will Byers. From Season 1, Will has been marked in a way nobody else has. He spends days in the Upside Down. He breathes the particles. In Season 2, a vine wraps around his throat and pours the Mind Flayer into him. He becomes a human relay. He feels temperature changes when the Mind Flayer is near. He hears it. He knows where it is.
Only this time, I didn't run. This time, I stood my ground. Easy peasy, right?
Easy peasy.
Just like that.
By Season 5, the show is clear. Will is the beginning and the end. Not Vecna, Will. If you were running this as a D&D campaign, You would see the pattern: the first kid taken, the one who survived the longest exposure, the one still connected to the hive mind years later. That is not just a victim, that is an anchor. There is a strong chance the final conflict of Stranger Things 5 is not 11 versus Vecna. It is the party versus whatever the hive mind wants to do with Will. Now, let us zoom out to the structure. Season 1 introduces a small Demogorgon. Season 2 introduces the Mind Flayer in shadow form. Season 3 gives it a body. Season 4 gives us Vecna as the face and the backstory. Season 5 ties it all together. If Vecna was the final boss, Stranger Things 4 would have killed him. The fact that he survives means he still has a role to play, but probably not as the last enemy. Think about other big stories. In many fantasy series, the villain you meet in the middle is there to teach you the rules of the true evil. They show you what the big threat can do on a smaller scale. Once you understand that, the story can reveal the real thing. Vecna shows us. The hive mind can twist human trauma. It can build bodies. It can rearrange time inside a mind. It can infect and reshape a human into a monster. That is terrifying. But it might only be phase 1. The real nightmare is what happens if the Mind Flayer, or the Dimension X intelligence, moves past needing Vecna at all. Imagine it using Will, or the entire upside-down copy of Hawkins, as its new core. At that point, killing Vecna would be like breaking one finger on a giant hand. So what does a final boss look like in Stranger Things 5? It might be Will fully taken over, forcing his friends to choose between saving him and saving the world. The Mind Flayer manifesting in a new form that is not tied to one body. Time itself bending, with the upside down locked on November 6, 1983, for a reason that only makes sense at the end. In all of those versions, Vecna is still important. He is the doorway, the teacher, the first nightmare. But he is not the last one. Here is the simple way to think about it. Vecna is the face of the enemy we understand. The Mind Flayer, Dimension X, and Will Byers are the parts we do not fully understand yet. Final bosses in stories are almost always tied to the deepest mystery, not the loudest monster. So as you watch Stranger Things 5 Volume 2 and the finale, do not just ask, will they beat Vecna? Ask, who gave Vecna his power? What does that thing really want? And what happens to Will if they win? Because when the screen cuts to black for the last time, the real question will not be how Vecna fell. It will be what price Hawkins had to pay to stop the thing behind him.